Welcome to the Threadheads podcast. I'm your host, Sinui. Today I'm joined by the one, the only, Maneframe. Thank you so much for coming.
Hello.
Yeah, holy shit, we're actually doing it. We're actually making history today. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So I think we just gonna jump right into it. So I want to start with the early days of your career. So I think my first question would be when did you actually start to learn guitar?
I'm pretty sure I was around like 14, 15. A couple of my friends wanted to start a punk band and they needed a guitar player. So I got elected to do that.
Okay.
I had no plan on learning or anything before that. And then, so technically, I was in a band before I could even play.
All right.
But
That's amazing. How did you learn to play guitar?
just picking up stuff here and there from my friends and just playing a lot. I never really had a teacher, like, per se. Like, I would pick up my dad's old guitar and just play when I was at home. And then for band practice, the bass player of the band had an electric that I would borrow until I got my own. So
That's really cool. That's a bit different.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no, that's amazing. So I know you showed me before the stream, but do you have a favorite guitar or any other piece of gear that you like to share with
Yep.
the audience?
This is my favorite guitar. My fiance actually bought it for me. It's Martin. I actually live near Martin, so this is ever since I started playing guitar, I always wanted one of these, and now I have one.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing. No, that's a beautiful guitar. Uh, do you mainly use sort of acoustic or semi-acoustics, or you do electric as well?
I do both. I have a. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to move this to just
Yeah,
show
yeah,
you.
yeah. Go for it.
Um,
Oh yeah.
there's my bass, electric guitar. Then behind me, you got the ukulele, an ovation, the 12 string, and then here's my Fender.
Fuck yeah.
This is on every Mainframe song.
Yeah, I think I've seen that actually on you posted a photo along with
Yep.
your cat, I believe.
Yep.
No, that's so cool. That's so cool. Um, I know you were making blues, rock, and metal in your early days of your music career, but what was the most important skill that you still use to this day that you learned at that time?
Um, I just making riffs. The way I describe the way that I make music is I just make noise. It's funny because I'm doing a lot of collaborations with a lot of different people, and they'll message me and be like, "What keys this in?" And I have no idea. I just pick it up and start playing. Like I know how to play a C, how to play a G, and stuff like that. Like I know how to do the chords, but I don't know what key or any of that. I try to make things that sound cool.
Yeah,
Um, and it's the only downside to that is I'm very bad at covers because I mostly just pick it up and start making noises. And I've been doing it. I'm 38 now, so that's 20 years, or I don't know. I'm very bad at math, but you know what I mean. I started at like 14,
yeah,
and I'm 38, so I mean that's a lot of playing where I, yeah, I just pick it up and make noise. That's the best way to describe it.
yeah. Practice makes perfect, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, so when did you actually start getting into the production side of stuff, and when did you actually learn how to produce?
That's also self-taught. Um, I back I used to be in a rock band, and back then's when like I wasn't I listened to everything. So I don't know if you remember jock jams. It's like the old, really old dance music basically. But they used to use samples where they would play songs and then have like Bugs Bunny or something over top of. So back then, I've always been a computer nerd. That's what I do for a living. I fix computers. And I used to use actual sound recorder on um, the old PC and take one example, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Love Roller Coaster. I would take that song, make a loop out of it, like find where it would loop good, and then play that back in different sound recorder windows. And then I would hit play and play like a Bugs Bunny over top of it. And then as it's recording on a different window. And that's really where it all started. And then my friend gave me a copy of Sony Vegas Studio or Acid Pro, and I started moving along with that, just messing around, doing my own stuff. My first recordings that I ever did on my own, I actually released as Mainframe this year. It's I think it's the Back in the Day EP. Um, it's songs that I just happened to find on online when I did a search for my name that I forgot I even put online, and I downloaded them and re-released them, and I didn't really change anything with how they're recorded or anything. Like I didn't like remaster them, or it was just all recorded back in 2004. I could tell because that's when they were uploaded on the original website. And back then, I was using a Casio keyboard, a with the headphone jack plugged into the sound blaster in the back of the computer, and a couple of the songs I even took the Casio keyboard, ran it into my wah pedal to get weird sounds. I was always messing around with weird stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
really cool. Yeah, that's so different. That's so so amazing. So yeah, never heard that one to be honest.
sorry.
No, no, no. This is fantastic stuff. I'm just gonna put my charger in. I forgot to do that because I was
No problem.
not mindful enough. All right, so all right, so and yeah, so you're basically just messing around with that stuff, and that just carried on until till present day, more or less.
Yeah, I was I after I recorded that stuff in 2004. I forget what happened. I think the computer broke or something, and I just stopped recording my own stuff. And I was in a bunch of different bands, everything from heavy metal to alternative rock to cover bands. Like I can play cover songs, but I'm just not that good at it.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, no, I know the feeling. I also started out with trying to make covers and actually remake songs in my DAW, but it's good to learn. But then I realized it's very hard to it's hard for me to learn stuff on the guitar as well because I'm actually a beginner guitarist. So, but yeah, no, that's really cool. It's such a different story, and I love that so much. Yeah. Um, I don't know why I find it so hilarious that I read that you're using GarageBand uh, at at the moment, which in fairness is probably the best free DAW out there. But have you tried any other ones and what did you think of them?
I have. I There's another band on Threads and everywhere, Hail Cassandra. Their guitar player, I used to be in a band with literally 20 years ago. And he reached out once he saw that I was doing stuff as Mainframe. and we've been talking, going back and forth, and he actually gave me um, a free trial of Studio One,
Hmm.
and I was messing around with that, and I just couldn't get the hang of it. Like I was trying it, and then I would just get frustrated and open up GarageBand because when I make music, it's kind of like, you know how like a lot of times people come home from work and they grab a beer or whatever, then they sit there and they watch TV. I come home from work, I grab a beer or whatever, and then I come and play guitar.
Oh, that's
So that's like my unwind, for lack of a better term. So
yeah.
that's go ahead.
That's a perfect way to unwind. Really, it's so amazing because I need to praise your output. I mean, I know we joke around there a lot, but I said I was intimidated by the level of output and how often you put out new music. So, but that explains a lot if you spend a lot of time in there. Um, so I was kind of baffled when I read a comment from you online that you barely use any music theory in your process or very little. But how are you able to figure out what actually works so fast?
um I just play. um, I probably use music theory without knowing that I'm using it. Like
Hmm.
I'll pick up the guitar and just start playing something. Like I mean, now I have no idea what that was. I just picked it up and started playing, but I know enough to know that that's a C. So then I would go on the keyboard and do a C. That's I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that makes it even more amazing in my opinion because in the beginning I was a little bit against music theory because I was like, oh, it's just a theory. But then I realized quickly that music theory is really good to figure out what actually works quicker. So
Yeah.
in the writing process, that's what I use a lot, tend to use a lot. So
And
um,
what stinks is I just recently started getting more into the synth like keyboard sounds, and I don't know where the C is on the keyboard. So there's times where if I don't know what I'm doing, I'll just hit something, and then I'll go in and move them around because you can do that because it's MIDI until I'm on the C, and then I'm like, okay, cool, and then um, I think the best way to describe the way that I make music is um, I'm really bad with terminology because I really don't know what I'm doing. I just do it. Um, I think I do what producers do, where like they'll take loops and loop them and make them work, but I make the loop. So like
gotcha.
when I record the song, I'll take that little riff that I just played or something, and I'll save it. And then most songs, that type of thing will repeat. So I would just copy and paste it over there. That's why GarageBand is so easy to make things. I mean, I know that's cheating and it's probably going to piss a lot of people off, but that's
Yeah.
what I do.
No, that's really cool. I mean, I the thing of creating the loop, I use no loops in my music at all. Sorry, I don't use any samples in my music
Yeah,
because to me that's its own art form.
yeah.
But I kind of also like doing things from scratch. So yeah, no, that's very interesting that you say that. But in your process, when do you, at what point do you usually decide, okay, this is gonna be a full song?
Um, if I like it, I'll like I said, there's time. The first thing I normally do is I put a drum track down, and with that, with GarageBand, you literally just hit drummer and you hit go, and it makes a depending on what I want to play that day, because that's another thing with me. I have trouble Like if I want to make something heavy metal, I can do that, but I need to be in the mood to do that. If I want to do something slow and pretty, I can do that, but I need to want to do that, for lack of a better term. So I'll put on the drums, and if I feel like doing something slow, I'll slow them down to like 70 or something. Pick up the guitar, hit record, just start playing, and then or start playing on the synth or whatever. And if I play something and it sounds cool, I'll stop, save it, loop it, and then try to come up with something else that goes along with it. And then loop it, and then try to come up with something else that goes along with it. And then loop it and just keep repeating. Then pick up the bass, do something on bass that goes with it. And where it makes it very easy for the mixing, mastering part of the whole thing and picking the effects and everything is I like I said, I use GarageBand. So I just save the presets. And so like uh here, I actually have it open.
All right.
Um okay. Um can you see that kind of
Yeah,
sort
I
of a
can see
little?
it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so like here's the drum track. What I do to make things sound different is I like layer them. So like this has the Blue Ridge drum kit, which is sounds like a normal, and then this has an electronic drum kit, and I have them both going at the same time. So that way it adds like an electronic but not sound to it. So like when the snare hits, you still get the real drum sound, but not um same with the guitars. Like Mainframe Heavy Guitar 2 and Mainframe Heavy Guitar 1. Every single time you hear distortion on one of my songs, I'm using these two panned a little to the each side to make it sound almost like a band.
Okay.
And like that tone is in all of my heavy songs.
Yeah. But do you record it with the distortion or you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So what I'll do is I'll go and make all those tracks on there, start recording, and then if it sounds cool, I will continue and make it the full song. To answer the question 5 minutes later. Sorry
It's
about
all
that. Got a
good.
little
It's all
sidetracked.
good, man. No, this is the good stuff. So yeah, no, thank you for that, man. Um, I wanna touch a little bit about upon your on your inspiration. So what were your favorite artists or bands growing up?
Depends on when. When I was real young, I was obsessed with the song Louie Louie and Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Yeah.
I had a cassette with those two songs that were playing on repeat. And my parents were very into music. So in my area, they used to have a music festival. So growing up, I saw Frankie Valli in concert. I saw Creedence Clearwater Revival. Um, every band that would go to that thing, the concerts were free. And my parents would always take little me. I saw Casey and the Sunshine Band, Village People. Like I actually saw them in concert growing up.
Holy shit.
So
That's
um,
that's amazing.
Hootie and
That's
the Blowfish, I saw them back in middle school. Like, so I mean, my whole life has been music and concerts and everything. Before I even played the guitar, I would go to the concerts with my parents, and so
yeah.
my
That's a
go ahead.
that, that's so fucking cool, man. I mean, I think all of us wish our parents were that cool and took us to concerts and stuff at that age. Um, what would you say is the best concert you ever went to? Or say top
There's
three
too many.
if it's
There's
too
way
hard
too
with.
many.
Yeah.
Um, Chili Peppers or Metallica.
Yeah.
Um, I I think that's the showmanship wise. Eminem and 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Um,
Damn. Yeah.
Eminem had a full Ferris wheel on stage. I
Yeah.
don't know why, but it was neat. You know what I mean?
My guess is because he's fucking Eminem, probably.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Um. I want to think. I read somewhere Shinedown is your favorite band.
Right now, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been a fan of them?
I, forever.
Because so if you could put together a 5 or 6 piece band with members of your favorite band, which one would you choose? Let's say from all the favorite bands, like a drummer, a bass player, maybe 2 keyboard players or 2 guitarists,
um,
like a dream team.
Kirk Hammett, um, Brent Smith from Shinedown, um, Flea on bass.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Um, if it's not possible now, but Neil Peart on drums. Um, and I think that would
Yeah,
I'd be cool with that.
yeah. No, that would be a dope band for sure. Um, we're gonna move into talk about your new album, Mellow Melodies, and I've listened through it and I really enjoy the whole thing from start to finish.
Thank
My
you.
my take was it's had like a retro space theme. I found it very sonically uniform and some beautiful arpeggios. I really like the cool drum sounds as well. I think it had a good variation. Obviously, the synths are so cool. I mean, you have some cool bass synths um, and main synths and all that kind of stuff. But what inspired the vibe of the album?
To be perfectly honest, I'm 38 now. I used to skateboard. I snowboarded already. I'd done so much stuff that I should have gotten hurt. I tripped going up my stairs and messed up my leg really bad. This room is in the upstairs of my house. I was on crutches and couldn't get up here to the guitars. My recording setup is up here. So this is small enough to bring down on a laptop. So while I had to keep my leg up in the recliner, I couldn't get up here. I don't really watch much TV. I was going nuts. So I picture me in a recliner with a MacBook on this leg and that synth in this leg. And I was just making anything that I could because I wanted to keep making music. So that's that's where that album came from. It was a week of me sitting in a chair with my leg up, not being able to really pick up a guitar because they were all upstairs. And then once I finished the album, I was all excited because I'm like, yeah, I can add guitar now because that's always been my thing. And I came up, I hooked everything back up where it was, plugged in the guitar, and it just didn't sound right with guitar. So I literally tried to add guitar to every single one of those songs, and I liked them better before I added the guitar. So that's really where that came from. I had no intention on even making that album except for I just wanted to make music and I was stuck in a chair. So that's
Yeah,
how
that
I
yeah, that's so funny. That's just came out of like an accident. You
yeah,
made an accidental album and it's so good. It's so good. Uh,
thank you.
yeah, no, it's I think that's the thing that really I was drawn to as well, especially with the Mainframe style of music because um I know when starting out it's always so cool to try out new synth sounds, but you actually make them very sonically uniform. So, and I've been trying to kind of make that music, but I've been going on, I've been obviously been open to trying new things, but yeah, I really like the style of music you make in there. Um,
Thank you.
so did you use any specific like software synth or VST synths in GarageBand or?
The only one that I would truly recommend people to check out, I actually don't have a lot of VSTs or audio units downloaded. Um, I I use Revolver for guitar. That is awesome. Um, that uh that really makes it sound good, especially if you're doing like metal, in my opinion. Um, I use sorry, um, isotope vinyl if I want to make something sound like it's a lo-fi track. That's something that I've been trying to get the hang of, and it just, in my opinion, doesn't sound right in comparison to the other stuff. Like I like the songs that I'm making that I try to make sound like lo-fi, but I didn't get there yet, in my opinion. Um, but
Yeah,
that's cool for adding like record sounds. And then another one is one called Digits. That's a free one. Um, and it it's the best way to describe it. The lead in Android's Dream, one of my songs, is digits. That's all it is. Like normally when I do synth sounds, I'll layer like I don't use the regular preset. Like you can see how these two tracks are the same exact thing through the whole song, but it's different instruments. That's how I get the sounds that I do. And with digits, I just use digits because it has so many different effects built into it. But right now, it froze my computer, so I can't show you.
no
That's
worries
why
at
I
all.
said about Android Stream.
Yeah, no, it's because I was trying to figure out what kind of VST synth you were using, and it's like because um, there was one track that you had one really cool one really cool bass synth. Um, but yeah, I did have some notes about the album. Uh, just some, yeah, let me just find it here. Sorry about this.
Ah, no
Uh,
problem. Oh, I was wrong. Back in the day, it was actually recorded in 2006, not 2004.
all right, all right. Um, yeah, there was Starlight was the one track I had a because I was making notes as I was listening to it, and I put in capitals that synth bass. Um, but yeah, I mean it's what else? I mean Luna Lounge, that had some dope shaker on there, some vibey cool drums on that one. Um, you might be surprised which one was actually my sort of favorite of the album, and it was actually a Clue. I really liked Clue. I know it was never released as a single or anything, but it was just melancholy with cool synths and like a like a robot ballad kind of thing. So
um, the I like Tron a lot. I did a remake of the theme from Tron.
yeah,
That's what I was going for with that song. Was something kind of Tron esque. That's why I named it Clue. That's a character in that movie as well.
oh, okay, well
So,
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'd like to touch upon the thing you said about not making it too lo-fi, and I think that's actually what makes it kind of stand out because I don't. For me, it's the synth album. It's not necessarily a lo-fi album as we know lo-fi. So it's 15 tracks. So how long did it actually take for you to finish the whole album, like from inception to when it was actually finished?
Um, about a week and a half.
Damn.
But like I said, I was stuck in a chair. I couldn't really do anything else. So it, yeah.
Yeah. Have you recovered properly from the injury, by the way?
It's still swollen, but the doctor said that that's normal and it's going to take, they said, months before I'm 100% back to normal. But as you can see, I'm upstairs. So that's a
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah,
uh,
100%.
yeah.
Um,
And it doesn't hurt anymore. So
mm,
that's a good.
yeah. Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Um, I really like all the titles of the songs. It's very, very intriguing, and it really sparks an interest. Do you put a lot of emphasis on making interesting song titles?
um, Normally when I make the songs, there's multiple different ways I do it. Either I'll have the like Clue. I had that title in my head before I started recording. So I tried to make it sound kind of like Tron-ish because I thought a song called Clue would be cool.
Mm.
Other times I will take the song and just send them to random people and say, "Hey, can you name this?" And then other times I use the AI, the chat thing, and just say, "Can you give me a name of a song that's like Whispering Woodlands?" That came from AI. And I'm like, "Can you give me a name of a song that sounds like it would be an electronic song in the woods?" I think I typed in, and it came back with that. So then what I'll do is I'll Google it to make sure it's not, because it didn't come from a person, it came from an AI. So I always second guess what that says because I fix computers for a living, so I don't trust all of that. I use it, but I don't like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, that's probably a good way to see it because I'm also very skeptical of AI in that sense. I almost never used it, I would say. I don't think I ever used it to be honest.
okay.
In fairness, it does make some really cool art. It does make some fantastic artwork, and what I imagine it's going to be its own genre of art, which is fair enough.
I
Um,
When it comes to AI, I'm on the fence. Like, I hate it. If it disappears tomorrow, good.
yeah,
But it's here, so I'm going to utilize
yeah,
it. That's my bad thought on it, for lack of a better term.
yeah. It's no, I think it's a very fair take. Because yeah, that's actually the thing I was going to ask you next, if you think it has a place in music, but because a lot of companies make AI powered plugins, with making the voice sound a lot better than it might be and stuff. So, do you think, in a sense, it's a bit deceiving to use AI to an extreme extent rather than a small extent?
100%. And like I said, if it disappears tomorrow, I'm all for that. The my Did you listen to any of the stuff that I released as Mark Whitmore years
Yes,
ago?
yes, I have.
Um, Perfect example for all of the drums and that I use this. So every single drum that you hear, I'm physically hitting a pad. With the garage band, I don't know. I think that might be AI that is doing the drums that I use for Maneframe because it has a drummer feature that I started using once I started going by Maneframe. Um, Originally, I used to play drums in a metal band, so I know how to play drums. So when I was originally got back into recording as Mark Whitmore, I I was hell bent on making it sound like it was a real drummer. So that's why I use this because I knew what a drummer could do because I used to drum. Then with Mainframe, I figured I'm going for electronic stuff, so I don't care how it's like. If it's not that I don't care, it it doesn't need to sound like a person because it's all electronic anyway. That's kind of the thing with that. So that's why I started using that. And like, I mean, this is a perfect example. This can't be played by a person. Like how fast that goes, I highly doubt a person could do that on the drums, but I still have it in my song because it fits. Um, so and plus with my album covers, they're all mid journey, um, except for Echoes of the Beginning, which is coming out next month, but I think when this airs, it's going to be this month.
Yeah,
So definitely look into that.
that's nice. Um, all right, that's perfect. I'm gonna see here. Sorry, we took a little sidetrack here. Um, so I read that you loved lions when you were growing up, which inspired the Mainframe brand. But what are your favorite lion facts?
um, I always like that they all stuck together for the most part. And I always liked the mains, like that was I always wanted to just hug a lion because they're so fluffy. Like um and let's be honest, they're badass. So
King of
just
the jungle. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, they're lovely animals, and yeah, I I would love to hug one as well, but I also love being alive. So
Yes, yes. That's
so
why I haven't yet.
yeah. No, that's great. So speaking of your branding and marketing, I thought asking Wendy's about their favorite Mainframe song was an absolute brilliant marketing move. Um,
I just wanted I'm gonna be honest, I was a troll. If you follow Wendy's on social media, they crack me up, and you can tell that they troll people too.
yeah,
So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna troll them back. I did
mm,
not expect them to reply at all.
yeah, and it was a decent reply by their standards. Usually
Yeah,
they,
yeah. They took the time, even if they didn't listen to it, they still named a mainframe song, which
yeah,
was awesome.
yeah. It also begs the question: who the fuck listens to music when they're brushing their teeth? Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
but
Let
I guess
alone hard rock.
yeah. No, that's amazing. I know you have a pretty big following on Threads, especially. Um, how long have you been a member on Threads? Because it's brand new, right? Threads.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know. I can tell you in a second though.
14th of July, I think I actually looked this up.
That's about when I made Threads.
Okay.
All of the emptiness was before I made one.
All right.
It's just crazy the community there.
Yeah, it's so like we said, it's so wholesome and people are genuinely supportive, because we're all going through the same thing
Yeah,
in different variations, but we're all in the same boat. So
yeah.
um it's a very supportive community. So yeah. Um so but how long would you say would be has taken to actually gain some momentum with the whole project in itself?
Um, that I'm really not sure. It nothing really popped with it except for like my immediate friends and family. Until I made that Threads account and started sharing dad jokes. That's really when everything started to gain momentum. Um, I'm not sure why, but hey, that's cool. I still like. I'm sorry, but I still don't understand like why people want to listen to my noise. I'm glad they do, but I still I'm used to being the only one getting streamed like from me.
Hmm.
Like having one follower on Spotify, that's how, in my eyes, when I was making my own music, that's how I envisioned it. And now it blew up, in my opinion, which is pretty crazy. And that I still can't believe it, but that's awesome.
Yeah, no,
and I want to thank everyone. Like that's super cool.
yeah, I mean it's so cool, and that's exactly the reason I wanted to have you on, because I want people to understand it can be done. Um, with GarageBand as well. So, which
And dad
is
jokes. That's the
and dad
trick.
jokes. That's
Yeah.
very important. Um, so, but I think one of the things that really is key to many people is the consistency, because for me, you release a song every other day in my mind. That's how I see it, and so I mean, many people usually touch upon the consistency, which is something you uh, have worked out really well. Um, would you have any advice to aspiring artists, just in general, what has worked good for you, and what people maybe should avoid especially when coming to threads?
My biggest advice is to ask for help. Ask questions. Ask me. Ask anyone. Like it. I Do you know who Breaking Benjamin is? The band.
I've heard of it.
They're a really big rock band. And one day out of the blue, I decided to send a message to Chad, their drummer,
Ah, yeah.
and I did not expect a response at all. And within an hour, like I messaged him, I'm like, "Hey man, I'm a nobody. Do you want to do a collab though? That'd be awesome. It's something different." And I mean, it's my fiance's favorite band. I've seen him in concert more than 15 times. Like they're just really good. Um, and within an hour, he replied to me. He's like, "Hey, yeah, sure, send it over." I'm like, "What? I don't even have a song." So I spent the weekend trying to make a song that I think his drumming would sound good on, and I sent it to him, and he liked it. But if I would not have messaged him, it wouldn't have happened. So that's my advice. Like, just just do it. Like, if you have a question, ask. If what's it gonna hurt? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's so fucking cool, honestly. Yeah, that's actually the first time I actually heard about this band in relation to the collab you did with them. So, because the drums were absolutely fantastic on that track. So yeah, no, that's probably the track that made me a fan. If I'm being dead honest with you, so cool.
And what's funny too is he sent me, because he's like he literally toured in other countries with Breaking Benjamin. Like but he also, during the process, like we talked on the phone and stuff, and we went back and forth on stuff about the drums. Each time he was on the phone, he thanked me, and I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Like, I paid money to see you on stage multiple times. You don't need to thank me. But he was still just, and he's like, "How do you want the drums to sound? Like, I can do this." I'm like, "Dude, just play. You're badass. Just do it." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whatever you think would work, just do it. But he was so humble about everything the whole time, and that really, that's how it should be. And when it came to mixing that, he sent me, I think, like 10 different drum tracks that was all one, him playing, but he had like 10 different microphones and none of them were mixed. So I'm trying to figure this whole mess out. And Flan Music, I don't know if you saw him
yeah, yeah,
on Thread.
yeah. I'm
Um,
I'm I'm in contact with him every now and then.
he, oh yeah, he helped name the
Yeah,
podcast.
he named the
Yeah,
podcast. Yeah, for
yeah.
that's a big shout out
Um,
to Flan.
yeah. But he actually helped me mix the drums of it all to get everything to sound the way that it does now. So it's
Uh,
just funny how like even the collab had a collab. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. No, that's so cool. But did you get it in one stem or was it several stems you got?
Several. That's what I mean. He sent like
Yeah,
10
yeah.
over.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, gotcha, gotcha. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
it's yeah, I don't know why, but when we idolize someone, we just we because I met one guy I'm really big fan of in music, and he was also super cool and super humble and took time with everyone. Um, and I think that's sort of we see that a lot on threads as well, and people are very humble and very nice about the whole thing. So, and I think it's really cool that that seems to be the case with many people in music that are really just really cool.
yeah,
Because I think we many of us had this, or maybe more casual listeners or people that's not necessarily that listen to music every now and then, depending on a genre, of course. But I guess we have a the trouble artist is one stereotype, I guess, that people use it to for like a mental therapy kind of thing, uh, which is actually the reason I started. But it's just so much fun. It's just so much
yeah,
fun to do. It's unbelievable.
yep,
Um, and I remember I thought in my adult life I would never have any new emotions, but just making music is nothing compares. Just nothing compares. It's
yep,
so it's I'm so glad to meet like-minded people that does the same thing to in different variations. So yeah, so that's really fucking cool, man.
yep.
So I just want to touch more about the music and sorry, the marketing and the branding. So how much success is behind getting your music pre-saved?
I don't know. I just know that the DistroKid, that's who I use for my distributor. They claim that's very important. Um, I know on Spotify's end, I think once the song's released, it will automatically save it to their library, which helps a lot. Because that any every stream, every playlist ad, every time even any somebody looks at your profile, Spotify keeps track of all that. And the more people who interact with you on there, the more people that you don't know, they're going to automatically push it out to. So that's where and also with the pre saves, I believe, I mean, this I'm not 100% sure. Um, I believe with the pre saves, the more pre saves you have, the higher chance of being placed on a Spotify, one of their playlists, where you're talking 10,000 people are following it. Like, um, but again, I don't fully know all of this. This is what I think from reading what I did and hearing what I did. I may be totally wrong, but that's the impression that I got from reading about it. So
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I've heard various things about it. Like outside of DistroKid, I've seen people say it doesn't really matter. It's not going to do too much. But I mean, then we have people like yourself that is a good example of pre-saves. I mean, it definitely holds a weight certainly in terms of triggering the algorithm and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. And
Um,
if nothing else, I believe when you get a pre-save, when you do pre-save it, I think you get an email the day of the release. So that in itself is helpful because I I'm planning on releasing an album next month. So when I send out the pre-save thing, there's times that I won't even remember. Like I made a post this morning talking about a single that I have coming out on Monday. And I had to go sign into my account to see which single was coming out on Monday because even I forgot. So I when you pre-save, you'll get the email, which helps because if I forget to say, hey, you have another song coming out tomorrow, everybody will still get that email promoting for me, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think that's great for artists to know, myself included. So that's great that you clarify that. Um, so what do you think about there was a little bit of controversy. I've seen some people online on threads, especially with people having their songs added to playlists that has seems to be botted, and then people have gotten some repercussions due to it. Um, do you have a take on that?
I think it's horrible. um, it's a it's a double-edged sword because every stream you get 0.0000001 cents. So technically you get money for each one of those streams that are from a bot. But the problem is we're not asking to be put on this playlist and you're getting added to that playlist and it says right in the terms and conditions of everything, if you are on a botted playlist and you have bots to your plays, you can get your account banned and your song and music removed from Spotify, like altogether. So it's forcing people to take a risk that they didn't sign up for lack of a better term. And I think that's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think it's really fucked up, to be honest.
Yep.
And I found out the other day that they have the threshold is 90%. Like you can have 89% botted plays, but if you go over 90, you're fucked. It's, like that just tells the whole story,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
And I saw an interview with a guy named Russ. I don't know him. I think he's some kind of rapper, independent now. He used to be signed, but he made a point of even the big artists, like the mainstream artists, you know, the pop artists, even their labels actually buy botted streams. I mean, half of it is at least organic. So if you have a song with 500 million plays,
Yeah.
they would buy the other 400 million plays as well, because no one's gonna go, oh, that only sounds like a 500 million play song, you know.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And they might only put in something like 70,000 to 80,000 dollars into it, which, let's be honest, that's money that they wipe their ass with on a
Yeah.
daily basis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really interesting. um I want to ask you some subscriber questions before we move on. So I actually got a three people that submitted some questions here. So the first one is from Okaden. You will find him on Okaden AU, I think his username is. He asks, if there was one artist you could work with, who would that be? Any dream artist?
Brent Smith from Shinedown.
Hmm.
I think part of the reason why I like that band so much is I I make instrumental music. Um, Normally when I listen to music, I listen to the guitar and the like I still follow the vocals. I can still tell when there's a good singer, a bad singer, but like where most people when they listen to a song, they're following the vocals. I'm normally listening to all the instruments going crazy and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Um, with Shinedown, I can't not listen to him sing. Like he's just such a like in my opinion, such a good singer. It's insane. So I would have to pick him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's cool. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I got a couple from Nate underscore Cirque, or Nate underscore Shirk. I'm not sure. Hope I don't butcher too much. Um, he asks how to face and overcome initial challenges as an up and coming artist.
Um, I'm still an up and coming artist. So if you
Yeah,
find out, let me know
yeah.
too. um, but what I plan ahead, plan ahead. Um, and like I said earlier, ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out. I think what's going to help, and I think part of the reason why I've grown on social media in general is because of doing collabs. I think that is the secret because even then, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping other people also, which I think is awesome. You know what I mean? And the, yeah, that's,
Yeah, no, that's great to know. And yeah, especially the collaboration part. I think what I understand is essential. I'm not there myself yet because I don't have nothing to bring to the table as of right now, in my opinion. Um, but how? Yeah, I do have another question. Another question from Nate Cirk. How do you come up with the ideas for your visuals?
I, I don't know how to answer that. There's times where I use AI for
Mm,
my visuals. So I use Kyber. So it goes one of two ways. Either Spore, perfect example. My one song called Spore. For the visuals for that, I thought of that video before I even made the song. So I I thought it would be neat to have a video of growing mushrooms. I just thought that would look really cool. So I tried to come up with a song based off of the visual that just popped in my head. All the other ones, like um, this song, I was messing around with effects and I came across this effect and where is it? I thought it sounded cool. So I went with it and then I ended up making a whole song out of it. But it sounds almost like a clock. I don't know if you can hear it
I
on
can
your
hear it.
end.
Yeah. So you basically got inspiration for the song from a visual. Like, is that fair to say?
For the other one, and then this one in particular, as I made the song, it started to sound like a clock. So for the visual, I'm gonna use a bunch of different clocks. Um, the one of the songs on my upcoming album is called Relics. For that, I didn't finish the video yet, but I'm gonna make like overgrown cell phone and then a computer and with just because relics it just works.
Yeah.
I don't know. um I think
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
to answer, I'm all over the
Yeah.
place.
I think most of us are in one sense or the other. But yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, your visuals. I mean, everything you do there, it's so cool, and it really grabs the attention of anyone who's watching really or scrolling threads. Um, so that's amazing. So um, um, how I just want to go back to the collaboration part because I forgot to ask my follow-up questions. It's the
uh,
first it's the first episode. Bear with me. Come on.
it's no problem, no problem.
um,
Mine too. This is my first
yeah,
time doing
yeah,
anything like this ever.
yeah. You're doing
So
a great job. You're doing a great job. How do you usually uh, choose people to collaborate with?
um if I like their music. Um if I like their music, I'll reach out to them. If Yeah, if they seem like cool people, I reach out to them. Um, yeah, I or if they reach out to me, I'll collab. Um,
Yeah, no, that's
uh,
a great way to go about it. I think. Um,
yeah, like I did a song with Sweet Apple, and we uh we recorded it, and that was actually my first time really collabing with anybody who wasn't a 20-year-old friend.
Mm.
By 20-year-old, I mean I've known him for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean that was really what started the whole thing. And then after that, that's when I reached out to Chad from Breaking Benjamin. Just I gotta be honest, it was kind of like a joke. Like I did not expect a response from him, and he emailed me right back. And then while I was working on that, I um I got sorry, I got a message from Spectre Falling. He's friends with Sweet Apple, and Sweet Apple mentioned to him that I did. So he reached out. He's like, "Hey, I don't know how to word this, but do you want to make a song?" I'm like, "Heck yeah!" And at this time, and he does rap. So at that time is when I was making Mellow Melodies. So I'm in the recliner wanting to make music, and then this guy messages me with wanting to make music that doesn't necessarily need guitar. So I'm like, yes. So we did two songs in one night, and fully done out the door, um, with me and him. And then yeah, now I have a whole list of collabs I'm working on with other people as well.
Yeah.
It just kind of, for lack of a better term, snowballed. It started off small and just one thing led to another. Now we're like a huge community here.
So how many collabs do you have going on at the moment? Or working on, I should say.
I wrote it down. um, the upcoming ones, uh, Michael Mangarda, we made a song called Redefine that's coming out on March 18th. That one's like a rock. It's awesome. Um, this side of Wednesday and Amber Lee Donahue, Are You Ready? Is a song that's coming out February 23rd. That one, this side of Wednesday mentioned that they wanted to do a rock song just in like one post. So I whipped up a rock song quick and sent it to him. And I'm like, here, do whatever you want with it. And we went back and forth, and that's where that song came from. Pure Scum, we have a song coming out either next month or in April. I have a song coming out with Neither Could Dylan. That's a pop punk song. I have a song coming out with Ava Breeze. That's going to be a rock song. Another song with THE Honor Roll. That one is kind of like Linkin Park almost. I have one that I'm working on with Jay Reaper right now. That's going to be an emo rap song. And another one with Spectre Falling. We're making a heavy metal song. Like I'm talking
Oh,
like
it's
the growling
yeah, yeah.
heavy. And we're also working on an EP. Right now, there's 8 songs with him and Big Snow, and it's inspired by the Beastie Boys. So I made all the beats to try to sound like something the Beastie Boys would make. So that's cool because that's totally out of my norm. So that's going to be cool. We also have a big collab with Witchy and the Coven, who makes electronic music also, like me. Big Snow, Spectre Fallen, Sweet Apple, and me, all in one song. And then we're also working on a website called loudpack.xyz. Um, it's basically going to be a social media site for musicians who want to do collabs with others to make it an easier for everybody to get together and do collabs going forward. So that's going to be really awesome. Also, I'm working with C Sings in the future. Brennan Men's on a cover song, possibly if I can learn it, because like I said, I'm not that great at covers. Um, Dave Escoffery, we're gonna do a punk song. We messaged about it, and I just need to come up with something and send it his way, and he's gonna put lyrics with it. Also, I've been in talking with Slatterhouse Music, and it'll be your imaginary friend. We're working on something that's going to be pretty cool. I'm not gonna say too much because I, yeah. um, and then the end of the year, I'm having a full album that I'm releasing, full of nothing but collabs with other artists. That one, um, Dylan Lonsberry, um, he messaged me. I made a post asking if I should make some surf guitar music, and he replied to it and asked if he can do some whammy bar guitar stuff. I think I forgot to reply to him, but I have him on my list, so he's going to. I hope, maybe, possibly, he
Yeah,
might.
that's
um,
amazing.
and
Um,
there's just so many.
mm, all right, so yeah, no, you're collabing all over the place, so no, that's great to hear. That's really cool, man. Which goes to show, like you mentioned before, it's collaborations is the key.
Yep.
So I know you mentioned that about the loud pack. I will put a link to the website in the description or maybe on the screen as well. Um, and obviously every links to your socials and all that kind of stuff. I'll probably also will put it next to you on the screen as well so people can find you. Um, so this loud pack thing, whose idea was that? I forgot who you said.
Witchy in the Coven.
Okay, so
Um,
the website is
he,
live.
yeah, it's live. He's still working on it. It's very, 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 very early phases, but basically, it's like I said, like a social media for bands and musicians. There's a form. You fill out the form, and it takes all the information on the form and makes you a profile page. With the profile page, it'll put all of your links on it and everything for your music and all of that, and also contact information. One of the questions is if you would like to collab with other people and all of that. And that way, it'll give everybody a way to get a hold of each other, listen to each other's music, and basically support each other, which I
Yeah.
think is pretty cool.
No, that's super cool, man. That's super cool, and I think that can only add to the ecosystem that I want to create, and I think everyone wants to create really with threads, and I think we hit something or found something unique here because the app is so new, so it's not too saturated right now. So I think that's a great idea to actually make the most of it as well, and I think it's just going to be super beneficial for everyone, really.
Yep.
So that's amazing. Um, we're going to continue with another a few more subscriber questions, and these are coming from Carly Art Daily, which you will find on Instagram and as well as Threads. And she asks, "Do you ever sneak any Easter eggs into your songs?"
Um, Not really. But now I want to.
Yeah, yeah, it's fair. I think, yeah, I don't know how I would imagine an Easter egg in a song. I think might be some reference to something, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Carly also asks, Do you ever find inspiration from dreams?
Um, to be perfectly honest, I normally don't remember my dreams. So the yeah, I don't think I do.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And she also has another question. What's your favorite genre of music to listen to at this at this point?
Um, right now, I find myself listening to all of the Thread playlists that have everything, um, like that other people were making. I have one that I made. Um, I that's a tough answer because I actually listen to everything. So I even like country. A lot of people don't like. I literally listen to anything. So mostly the Thread playlist, Shine Down, and instrumental music. Mostly, that's what I've been having on my repeat lately.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I almost only exclusively listen to Threats artists right now.
Yeah,
Because it's so cool and it's sort of it feels a bit closer to you in a sense because you can actually talk to the person that made it and like give them like a nice compliment about it and actually feedback and all that kind of stuff.
and a
Um,
lot of them sound better, if not at least as good as the stuff that's coming out nowadays with record companies. Like
100%.
the stuff that we can do at home now is just mind boggling. Like,
It is. It is. It's truly that's what I got absolutely baffled by. So, with a MIDI controller keyboard, I,
yep,
I was like, okay, so you're saying I only need to learn this one instrument in order to actually play several instruments,
yep,
uh, which is fucking fantastic. It's just,
yep,
it's so cool, and I mean, um, so yeah, it's so much more attainable and more available to people, and it doesn't you don't have to break the bank either to actually get going.
yep.
Um, I mean, I have a Novation launch key, MIDI mini MIDI controller, and it was $100. And I suppose
Yep.
that Akai Mini MP key goes for something like
Around
that.
100.
Yeah,
And
which it
with the I like we said earlier, I use GarageBand, which comes free with a Mac.
yeah,
So the DAW I use is free technically, and like I just released that ukulele EP. Um, I used an $80 ukulele on that entire thing. It was $80 for the ukulele. It came with a case, came with instructions, came with a lesson guide, came with everything. Um, that was kind of like the Mellow Melodies situation where this time at least I fell off my daughter's skateboard, and, and I messed up my leg and I was stuck. So for that time I bought a ukulele.
yeah,
But yeah, that's so I mean right there, $80 for that, and using the EQ and GarageBand. That's how I got that sound for that whole EP too. It's just pretty wild.
it is, and I love it so much. I love it so much that you made it on like a Mini. So do you think limitations amplify creativity in a sense?
Um, I never thought about it, but yeah, um, because I'm using just the GarageBand presets for most of my stuff. So the way that I make stuff sound different is I take them and I layer them together. So like if I want something to have a little more sound, I'll take a piano because that you can or a something percussion and layer it with the synth to make it have like the sound that like the beginning of Clue, that song, how like you can almost hear somebody hitting the keys. that's that's because I use two instruments layered, playing the same exact notes, and you only need to record it once, and then you can just. But adjusting the EQs and everything for the presets that come with GarageBand, that's how I got all those crazy sounds. Like, so I'm gonna say yeah, because I wouldn't have tried that stuff if I had the money to go out and buy the Native Instruments packs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I mean, ever since I found out you're using GarageBand, I want to make a song on GarageBand, honestly. Since I already have it, I have it on my iPad and obviously have it on the Mac as well. And I think it comes on iPhone too.
yeah, yeah.
So that only goes to show it's you can do it very much with very little.
And what's
So
cool about it is you can actually transfer the GarageBand projects across all three. So
mm,
you can work on stuff on the go if you wanted to. I don't yet, but that's the key word yet.
yeah, yeah.
um,
Uh, no, because the first time I actually dabbled around a little bit with GarageBand, um, I did notice they have some cool built-in synths there, like some really cool
yeah,
sounding stuff, and that drummer as well. I mean, so seamless. You can just choose your style and flavor and anything really,
yeah.
uh, which which does save a lot of time, at least for my own production, because I spent so much time on drums to, yeah, it's it can be a nightmare sometimes, or not nightmare, but a bit tedious work. But yeah, I think the drums are really important in a track. Um,
Yeah.
so let's say for Mellow Melodies, which aspect of the album did you pay the most attention to?
Um, the I'm gonna say the synth leads. Um, if you know what I mean by that,
Yeah,
like
100%.
um, that's what I would say I focused mostly on. Most of the songs started off with just a basic drum and then those leads, and then I just built it on it, just like I did with the guitar earlier, where I just picked up, played that random thing, took note that I hit the C note more than all the rest, and then I would do the C note on the keyboard.
Yeah,
Same same basic principle, only just with the keyboard. Um, and as dumb as it sounds, I didn't even know what the note was called because I'm looking at the keyboard and I don't know the notes on the keyboard. So I would just be like, I'm hitting that key most. So I'm going to try to do this to get a chord sound. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I
yeah,
just make noise.
yeah. But that's so funny and so cool, man. So yeah. Um, I want to move on to few other questions I have here for you. Um, I think most of us are guilty of romanticizing nostalgia. Um, if you could relive any era or any decade and you could make music during that, which one would you choose, you believe?
um, 80s.
80s? Yeah.
Um, because I really like synthwave music, and I think it'd be cool to go back then and make synthwave,
Mm.
but make it back then. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, it's such a because I myself I never really I mean I enjoy the type of music but I enjoyed it even more since I started sort of playing around with synths and you see what works and then you get some callbacks to certain songs and now you want to create the same synth sound as that song so and we have them in abundance so it's really cool and I think synth music is coming back especially from an indie perspective
yeah.
um, so so that's really nice so 80s all right um if you by some miracle happen to end up in the same elevator as Rick Rubin, how would you pitch him to work with you?
Geez. Um, I probably would. I would just ask him to hang out or something because he probably gets pitched to all the time. So I wouldn't try to, I would try to make a connection instead of like, hey, will you help me with this song? Hey, will you help me with this album? I wouldn't try to sell myself to him. I'd be like, hey, dude, what you do is awesome. Do you want to get coffee sometime or something like that? Like almost not music related if possible. Like the best I I know a lot of people hate him, but hate him or love him, whatever. He makes popular podcasts. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had James Hetfield on, and they talked about bees for like an hour, talking about beekeeping because that's what Hetfield likes. And Hetfield said that that was one of his favorite interviews because he just talked. Um, that's what I would try to do if I were to be in the same elevator with him. I would just try to find something off topic and then be like, hey, kind of like the dad jokes. Hey, look at these funny jokes. Oh, by the way, I make music too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I think that's a good approach, really. I mean, it's because we kind of, yeah, befriend someone and then bring it up, you know. So I think because people like to work with nice people in every aspect and every line of work, really. I mean, it's easier to work with people that are nice than people that are not so nice.
Yeah.
And I think on Threads we do that as a second nature because I think from what I've seen, that's what works best. You know, I mean, I follow the cool people whose content I really like and whose music I enjoy, or if they just make a nice comment or being reasonable or whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
I think that really paves the way to collab further down the line because we're already in our um, we already see each other sort of every day through Threads.
Yeah.
So what's the best advice you were ever given?
Use my pinky. When I play guitar, I never like I will go like this every time. I'm always fancy and I always have my pinky out. And I could do so much more if I would just like I can do it when I think about it, but if I were to do that from the start, which like I said, when I first started playing, I didn't know what I was doing. So and I never really had true lessons, but once I started playing guitar with someone who really knew what they were doing, he would always tell me to get that pinky down. But
Yeah,
yeah, I always that's what I that's probably my best advice to give to guitar players is
yeah.
use
No,
that pinky.
yeah. Come to think of it, I'm gonna take that advice because I don't use my pinky at all. Just
Yeah,
now when you mentioned, I didn't realize before.
yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So what song did you wish you wrote?
Hmm.
That's a tough one.
I'm gonna say "Fade to Black" by Metallica because that's a song that I never get sick of. I can play it. I my old band used to cover it. I just really like that song, and I think it's really well done. It goes from clean to distorted. It has multiple solos. I just think it's a really well put together song. So that's what I would.
Yeah.
That,
No, that's a cool choice. It's a really good song, obviously. Um, Another question I have, if you could attend any concert at any point in the past, which one do you think you would choose?
Zeppelin with all the original members.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that would probably be
Yes,
cool.
in their prime. Like
Mm,
when they would do the 3 hour guitar solos in the middle of a song. Yes.
Yeah, they don't make concerts like that anymore. Like generally speaking, there's no. I mean, bands that jam on stage now is almost rare. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so gonna move a little bit away from the music. I know you love a good dad joke or a good pun. Um, do you have any favorite stand-up comedians or any comedic writers or comedic actors that you're a fan of?
Um, Always a fan of Adam Sandler. Um, Jim Gaffigan cracks me up. Um, I even read his books. Like he's awesome. George Carlin, the great.
Yeah.
Uh, I actually got to see him. I saw Jim Gaffigan too, but um, I went with my brother. Just randomly called me. He's like, "Hey, I got tickets for Carlin. You want to go?" Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, it was awesome.
Yeah. I,
But that would, and Jim Brewer cracks me up too when he
yeah.
does the heavy metal stuff.
Mm,
But
yeah. Yeah, he's a classic. I love that I love that you mentioned Carlin. I watched a lot of his stuff as well. I'm a huge comedy fan. Um, but my my favorite Carlin joke is probably, do you know why they call it the American Dream? Because you need to be asleep to believe it.
yep,
That's such a
yep,
good joke. I just love that so
yep,
much.
yep.
But just want to touch a little bit more, Carlin. Do you think? I mean, we see some comedians tend to be a little bit more, for lack of a better term, a little bit more preachy in their later stage. But I think Carlin was so clever. He was so intelligent. And he can still he had this he could talk about politics and still joke around and still make it so super entertaining yeah without being too extreme in a sense. But yeah, they don't make him like him anymore.
No, no.
Um, all right, um, so can you walk me through how a really great day in your daily life looks like? Like what time you wake up, your breakfast, your coffee, what do you have for lunch, and so on.
Uh, Normally I'm up around 7. If I sleep in until 8, that's considered sleeping in to me. Um, Normally I have to go to work, but if it's not, I would wake up, have breakfast. Normally during the week I skip breakfast and I just go and I'll have a lunch. But uh, I like pork roll a lot. A lot of people don't even know what that is. It's really good. You should Google it.
I will.
And I'm not going to explain it. Try to explain it. The favorite favorite dinner is steak. I'm a big steak fan. My one buddy always jokes that every single time he comes over to visit, I'm always making steak because that's my go-to. I love grilling. Um, yeah, I mean, just hanging out with my family and playing video games. I'm actually I have this, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, holy shit. That's so
Uh,
cool.
and I have the guts to build 5 more. And we're renovating a room in my attic right now, and I'm gonna build a mini arcade.
That's
So
so
that's
dope.
gonna, um, but that's what I would do. I would play video games and music and eat steak and pork roll.
Yeah, that's nice. That's so cool, man. I think let's see if I have anything else. Yeah, I saw you have the really cool space up there. I saw you had some Star Wars posters and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah. This is my. We just recently moved into this house. Um, And when we were looking at the house, we came across this room, and I said to the family, I'm like, if we get this house, this is my room. You guys can have all the other rooms. This is my room. And this is my room.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
no,
got all, it's
that's
like my
great.
man cave.
Mm. Um, so do you have anything else you wanna plug at this point?
Echoes of the Beginning is my new album that's coming out. It's a post rock. It's actually my personal favorite that I've made like ever. So check it out. Here's the cover.
Ah,
I
yeah.
haven't shown that anywhere yet.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing.
But that's um it's made by Carly Art,
Oh yeah.
um who asked the questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um and yeah, I don't, besides that, I have that's coming out, and then I have a folder with 5 bluesy type songs that aren't out yet. I have another folder with 11 electronic rock songs, which is like the stuff that I mostly released last year, like the heavier stuff. I have a folder with 3 slow and mellow songs, which are kind of like Autumn Wind, where it's like just slow with guitar. And then I have a folder, my favorite, with weird songs, and that's 3, 8. So I have, I'm planning on, I mean, I guess 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 more albums this year, besides the post rock one. So that's going to be 6 more this year.
Holy
So
shit. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm
um,
super jealous of you, but but I no, it's good. I mean, it's keep the ball rolling, so that's amazing. So, Mainframe, you've been an absolute gentleman. Thank you so much for taking time. And
thank you.
yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So I would love to have you on later down the road as well. So
For
and
sure.
and to everybody at home, this has been the Threadheads podcast. I'm Sunui. That's Mainframe. Thank you so much for watching.